podcaster and liberal commentator Jennifer Welch suggested that Democrats need to aim for mass prosecutions of top officials like President Trump and Elon Musk. She was speaking with former CNN anchor Jim Acosta and said that she thinks Trump and Musk are working towards a common goal of preventing a, quote, blue tsunami in 2028 so that they aren't prosecuted. Let's watch.
Trump and all of the bottom-feeding morons surrounding him, and Elon Musk and all the bottom-feeding Klingeroners that surround him, I think they commit crimes every day. And I think to reconcile all of this is going to take hardcore, not integrity Democrats. F you Democrats, f you for over our country. We are serious about this. We are prosecuting. We're going to uncover every document, every phone call, everything you did. We will be relentless about it. And that's the mindset they've got to have, because I think the electorate is going from, we've got to get him out, but also we want accountability.
Conservatives are sounding the alarm bell over Welch's comments. Attorney and political strategist Mike Davis writes on X, when Democrats control the White House, Senate, and House again, they will 100% nuke the legislative filibuster and pack the Supreme Court and add new states with 2 new Democrat senators each, and they'll gut all election integrity. And former U.S. Senate candidate Rob Maines says this is why we've consistently urged the Trump DOJ to act faster and in large numbers to prosecute every government weaponization and lawfare perpetrator from the last 8 years. Jennifer Welch is crazy person. No, she wants Democrats to have less integrity than they already have in order to... That's what she said.
Does the administration have more integrity? I just want to say, like, we're starting from a point of very low integrity.
She said there's...
She's saying match their energy.
Not have integrity, match their energy. Yes, yeah. So zealously, overzealously seek some excuse or pretext to prosecute Trump and Elon Musk. We're throwing Elon Musk, who's not a member of the government, who is not in an administrative role, who does not make decisions, who had a brief tenure advising the government on which departments could be cut down. It is a crime to try to make government smaller. You know what? It wouldn't surprise me if it is a crime to try to make government smaller, because of how hard it is and how difficult it is to rein in our bureaucracy whatsoever. That should appall us that it is treated as criminal to want to make the federal government smaller and have a less profound impact on our life. But according to liberal wine mom types like Jennifer Welch,
wine mom,
you know the type.
Let me address the camera.
Antifa.
Let me address
Antifa.
You, the camera, and then you. Stop. The Democrats have to stop. I want them to stop. Okay. We're not prosecuting Trump anymore. This is done.
Right.
Stop, okay? Because if we saw anything from the last time that he was prosecuted endlessly, and people, constantly were targeting, figuring out ways to kind of take him under that didn't work. What he became is a political martyr. And what happened is he fundraised endlessly and his base was rallied. And that's why we have a second Trump presidency. And so if the Democrats, who have an obvious, very clear advantage that is distracting and stressful for Republicans right now, they have a clear advantage to the midterms because of how the economy is going, use their time to campaign on any retaliation towards Trump or use the actual seats gained to retaliate and try to figure out how to attack Trump. That is the biggest drop ball I will ever see in the history of the party, because at the same time, they understand it's not going to work. President Trump can't even run again, so saying you're the antithesis of him, people get it. Just show that in policy and action. I think people are looking for some clear guidelines of what the Democratic Party looks moving forward, or looks to be. And prosecuting Trump can't be the message. It's literally done. Good evening, put it to bed.
But she's not even saying just prosecute Trump. She's saying prosecute
everybody.
That's
even more. That's
in
like
his orbit.
When I watched this last night, I was like, please, no, please.
This is hysterical, crazy person.
Please, no. And but also every time, like, we're looking at Letitia James, the president's looking for ways to find out how to connect her to her hairdresser and it's like, stop. Stop. This is making you look crazy and insane. This is making you look crazy. You have to stop. You have to find laws to put on the books. I mean, it's like the whole argument that we constantly have when different parties are in office. Like, oh, I can't believe that this is getting repealed. Okay, so codify it. Okay, so make it a law. If you have both chambers, the Senate and the House, and you haven't made something a law, then stop crying about it. Like, I don't want to hear, just like healthcare. I don't have any sadness in my heart for what Republicans are saying right now. It's too expensive. Okay, well, you had a decade to figure something out. Do something. You didn't. So don't complain now when people aren't voting for you because their health care is not situated in 2026. Like, I just really want people to do something else besides nothing and try to prosecute Trump.
Yeah. And you know what? If there's an actual crime, then okay, fine. Like, I don't think a political figure should invade prosecution just because they're political figures, but they've tried to get Trump on, I would argue, very weak pretexts for maintaining that he had won the election, which is his free speech right to do. For
lying about the election is not a good thing.
Well, I'm not saying it's a good thing, and they impeached him over it, but it's not a crime to say something that's not true, or to be deluded in that Trump thinks he won. He thinks he should have won the Nobel Peace Prize. He thinks.
You know what? After this Nobel Peace Prize, Greenland, he might be delusional.
Belief, but it's not criminal.
He might be delusional.
My point being, that's not a crime. Mischaracterizing payment to Michael Cohen, that whole sketchy, but not criminal, and so on and so forth. If he murdered someone in the middle of Manhattan, then
like he said, he could probably get away with.
Well, then he should be prosecuted for murder. I'm fine with but there's too much what conservatives have termed lawfare, and there is some truth to that. That overzealous prosecutors, if they try hard enough, can always find an excuse to go after you, and then in the course of the investigation, you'll be charged. If they can't prove whatever their novel theory is, then they come up with obstruction of justice or perjury or something else. Because, well, we can't prove you committed the crime, but you tried to defend yourself, so you're obstructing justice. That I don't like. And Republicans can do that to Democrats too, and Democrats do that to Republicans. So in response, if Republicans are saying we need to do lawfare even harder, no, what we need to do is reform the legal system so this is not commonplace. Again, I would encourage whoever is in power, instead of trying to prosecute your enemies so harder so that there'll be no one left and you can rule forever, that doesn't work. We go back and forth between the two parties. We're going to throw out all the Republicans. We're going to install Democrats. They're going to overreach and do bad things. We're going to throw them out, have Republicans again. That's just the nature of our system now. That's what we live in. I would urge whoever's in charge to blunt the weapons of the oppressors and make it harder to do big government bad stuff and lawfare and political prosecutions by just changing the rules, because our actual rules are hard to change because Congress doesn't do a lot of legislating. We don't do a lot of major tweaks to the system. What we do now is a new president comes in, declares a bunch of new things that actually don't even stand up when challenged in court. By the time they're struck down, we've brought somebody new in who repeals them all anyway, orders new things, and we do that. We don't actually do the legislating and codify these things. We could try to legislate when we have majorities to change the system so there's going to be less abuse of the system. And that is what I would urge Republicans to do in their remaining time in charge, which won't last very long because they've squandered this massive opportunity on a lot of nonsense, frankly, which disappoints me. And then Jennifer Welch type tyranny, anti-integrity Democrats are going to come in and put my head on a pike and every other person who's vaguely right of center, and I'll be dead, and then my descendants.
And I'll cry.
And you'll shed
cry.
tears for me. And
wait, but
my descendants will come to power, and they'll have the Robbie Suave Democrat murder act. Do it to the Democrats.
We've only worked together while Trump has been president, right? But if you knew me prior to Trump being president in this second go round, you understand that I would say somebody has to be the bigger person. And so unfortunately, for the argument that I'm always making with you and I is you're always like, why would Trump have to start now after what Democrats did to him and try to impeach him and all that stuff? Why does he have to be the bigger person? If Kamala would have won and all the Democrats were talking about figuring out some other ways to look into Trump and investigate him, I would say, please be the bigger person. So no matter who
Kamala had won, my job would be a lot easier.
No, you always say that.
Everything that's going on.
No matter who is in office, I'm going to say, can we please try to figure out how to focus on making people have more opportunity towards this American dream we're selling, as opposed to trying to get your enemies. Like even, and we talked about it with Letitia James. I'm like, this is ridiculous. The first case was ridiculous. She gave her house to her niece. Come on now. The second case is ridiculous. Her hairdresser. It's all silly. But he's trying to bring this woman up on criminal charges so she could spend years in jail. And she prosecuted him for civil charges, which means you owe money. Okay, so I just think everybody needs to stop, pause, and figure out how to do some kind of semblance of the job promised on the campaign trail. That's all I'm asking.
Coming up, Democratic strategist Julie Roginski says she expects to be banned from CNN after she wrote an article harshly criticizing Scott Jennings. We'll be right back.